Shalom. This is Brother Yair Banyinyo. Just coming with a lesson. I pray it be edifying to the flock. As always, before I get started, I to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahakodash. Yahweh being the Father's name, who the world calls God or Jehovah. His true name is Yahweh. Bahashem in the name of Yahweh Shai is a true name of the Son, the Messiah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus or Yeshua or any of these other false names. His true name is Yahweh Shai. I'd like to give double honors to the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and teach well. Right? The true men who are speaking the 100% truth and teaching the 100% truth. And like I say, shalom to the speckled birds scattered to the four corners of the earth, who descend from the sea line of Israel will look like the other nations. Shalom to you all. I had this on my phone for a couple weeks. I've been meaning to go into it, and I thought right now would be a good time. I saw this post pop up on my one of the little news articles or whatnot, and it reads, Florida man eats feral pig meat, contracts rare biothreat bacteria. So as you see, this lesson is going to go into talking about the pig or the swine and why you should not eat it. Okay, many reasons why you should not eat it, but Jake and Eve will find excuses why they will continue to eat this animal that was never meant to be food for the Israelites at all. So-called blacks, so-called Latinos, Latinas, Hispanics, so-called Native Americans, indigenous people. We are the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And we were commanded not to eat this animal and other animals also. But before, I go to the scriptures, I'm going to read some of this article. So again, it reads, Florida man eats feral pig meat, contracts rare biothreat bacteria. It reads, it took nearly 2 years for doctors to figure out the cause of his chest pain. Okay. Let me see. Okay, here we go. In fall of 2020, a 77-year-old man in Florida realized he had gotten one of the worst gifts imaginable, one that kept on giving. According to a case report published in this month's issue of Emerging Infectious Diseases, Emerging Infectious Diseases, the man showed up at a Gainesville hospital with chest pain that just wouldn't go away. For nearly 2 years prior, the man, a pastor living on a rural farm with dogs and goats, had been in and out of hospitals and on and off of various antibiotics. So this man is a pastor, living in a rural farm. So, of course, there's probably going to be some pigs, wild pigs around, because there's wild pigs out here, especially in the South. Wild hogs. And again, this man's a pastor, so he should know the scriptures. And in Leviticus, where it tells you not to eat the pig, the swine. But what do they do? What do people who claim to be, Christians and whatnot? They don't follow the laws in the scriptures. They don't follow Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai's words. They go contrary to what he says. And you will see why not obeying the most high God, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, you're going to find out what will happen. It reads on, generally the man wasn't in the best health. His medical history included type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure. I wonder why. Eating abominable foods, eating things you shouldn't be eating, and eating a lot of stuff that can lead to you getting high blood pressure, high cholesterol, as it continues, as I continue to read, and heart failure with reduced ejection fractions. For the latter, he had an automated implantable cardiac defibrillator placed, and it was not his first. So this individual is in bad shape. Bad shape. What is it? Automated implantable cardiac defibrillator. So it's those little devices that go around your heart to give a shock, I think, where your heart starts, it might stop beating or might start beating out of rhythm. I think it's something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Continuing on, the man had a notable history of having gone through multiple defibrillators and revisions, including getting a new generator in 2018. Some possible reasons for such a history could include heavy use of the device and infections. Throughout his hospital visit in 2019 and 2020, doctors suspected he had an infection lurking in his heart implant, but the germ behind it remained elusive. When they tried to isolate whatever bacteria, fungi, or other pathogens was causing the problem, they couldn't find anything. He was subsequently treated for a culture-negative infection. At one point, tests suggested a rare opportunistic bacterium, but after treatments with over half a dozen antibiotics for mostly 2 to 4 weeks, spans over the 2 years, the discomfort in the left side of his chest would always return. And then it goes on and says, during the fall 2020 visit, doctors finally rooted out the source of the problem. Blood cultures tests showed clumps of some kind of bacteria among his blood cells. Imaging, meanwhile, showed Imaging, meanwhile, showed signs of infection around his implant. The doctors were concerned enough that they decided it was time to take the implant out. After removing it, they sent the device and samples to the Florida Health Department and the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, and Prevention, which did clinical genetic testing. They all turned up Brucella suis. And Salaki if I'm saying that wrong. Brucella suis. Brucella suis is an extremely infectious bacteria that usually found in pigs. Let me read that again. Brucella suis is an extremely infectious bacteria that's usually found in pigs. The most common symptom in pigs is reproductive losses, such as stillbirths, though they can also develop other symptoms, such as abscesses, and arthritis. In humans, it causes an insidious, hard-to-detect infection called brucellosis, which describes an infection from any Brucella species. And it gives those different species. In the U.S., there are only about 80 to 140 Brucellosis cases reported each year, and they mostly caused by, I'm not going to read that, but you see it. People tend to get infected by eating raw, unpasteurized milk and cheeses. B. suis, however, is generally linked to hunting and butchering feral pigs and hogs. I'm going to stop there. I'm not going to read anymore. But I'm going to read that part again. B. suis, however, is generally linked to hunting and butchering feral pigs and hogs. So this man had this infection for 2 years, bad chest pains and everything. They couldn't figure out what it was. until they finally took his implant out, got it tested at the CDC and what's it said, the Florida Health Department, and it came back that he had this infection. Because why? He was eating feral pigs. Not just feral pigs will give you something. All pigs will give you something because they were not meant to be eaten. Salakia. They were not meant to be eaten. They are supposed to be the cleanup crew of the land. They're supposed to be the garbage men of the land. They're supposed to eat the things that other animals won't eat, and they will eat they can eat dead carcasses. And this is why pigs do not sweat. They do not sweat like other animals do. So all the bacteria and everything that's in those pigs from eating all these rubbish, trash, because they would eat everything, even a dead carcass, like I said. These infections will stay inside of them. So their meat is unclean, and the Bible tells you this. Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai's words tell you not to eat these things. But see, like I said, so-called Black, Hispanics, Native Americans, they love the pig. And a lot of Puerto Rico, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Mexico, all these places where a high population of Israelites live, they eat a diet of the swine. And of course, the Israelites, so-called black people that live here in America, Babylon, they live on a diet of swine too. But the scriptures tell you not to eat it. Leviticus chapter 11, verse 7. And the swine, though he devour the hoof and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you. So the Bible told you right there. Leviticus 11:7. Do not eat the pig. That's a commandment. These are commandments that the one true living God, Yahweh, gave his people not to do. So we're not supposed to eat these animals. And of course, in the kingdom of heaven, when Yahushua comes back and sets everything in order on the earth, these animals will not be eaten anymore. But in this time we're living right now, Israelites, we're not supposed to eat it. Let me get another scripture. Deuteronomy chapter 14. Says verse 8. I'm going to start at verse 2. And I'll read down. Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 2. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy power. And the Lord hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself, above all the nations that are upon the earth. So this is going in talking about the Israelites. The Israelites are a peculiar people to the Most High God, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. We're set apart. So he gave us specific commands to do this and to not do this. I'm going to keep reading. Thou shalt not eat any abominable thing. So now it's going to go into the things we can eat and the things we can't eat. Verse 4. These are the beasts which ye shall eat, the ox, the sheep, and the goat. And we eat those things. A lot of Jakes and Eves eat the ox, the sheep, and the goat. They're clean animals to eat. It goes on. The hart, and the roebuck, and the fallow deer, and the wild goat, and the pygarg, and the wild ox, and the shamos. When you look up all these animals, these are all animals that are related to deer or antelope. They're antelope. They're in the antelope family. The Pygard is I think it's the Siberian Siberian roe deer, if I'm not mistaken. But you can look these up and you'll see they're all in the same family. They're all antelopes. Continue on, verse 6. And every beast that parteth the hoof and cleaveth the cleft into two claws and cheweth the cud among the beasts that ye shall eat. So it told you these are the animals we can eat. Now it's going to tell us the animals we can't eat. Nevertheless, these ye shall not eat of them that cheweth the cud, or of them that devoureth the cloven hoof, as the camel and the hare. See, you can't eat camel, or any relatives of the camel, alpacas, llamas, so forth and so on. And the hare, meaning a rabbit, a bunny, and the coney. I think a coney is another a rabbit, if I'm not mistaken. For they cheweth the cud, but devoureth not the hoof. Therefore they are unclean to you. Verse 8, and the swine, because it devoureth the hoof, yet cheweth not the cud, it is unclean unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass. So we're not even supposed to touch a pig carcass when it's dead. We're not supposed to eat it. So it just showed you all the animals you cannot eat. This is coming out the scriptures, and people going to, they'll fight tooth and nail against it. Because they'll say, oh, in the New Testament say we can eat anything and blah, blah, as long as you pray over it. No, you can't. You cannot. And they'll try to go to the scripture where it talks about how, who was it? I think it was Peter. Was it Paul had a dream, and but that dream he had wasn't going into animals you can eat. That dream wasn't about that. When you read further down, you'll know. But that's what they'll try to use to say, oh, well, I can eat whatever I want as long as I pray over it and stuff. No, the animal's still an abomination. You're not supposed to eat it. But these other Israelites will continue to keep doing what they're going to do. But this is for the brothers and the sisters who are in this truth and trying to do the best they can to follow Yahweh B'Hashem Yashai's laws and his ways. These videos are for you. That's it. So this is just another video showing you why you shouldn't eat the pig. Because look, this man in the article got an infectious disease that could have taken his life. Probably caused him much pain and suffering. Because why? He ate something he was not supposed to eat. And Yahweh B'Hashem Yashai tells us why we shouldn't eat these things. And if he doesn't go too much deep into it, you should just obey. Because you don't want to find out and go through what that man went through or other people go through. Because pigs have, they got a lot of parasites inside of them. And once you eat that, they're inside you now. Let me get one more scripture. Where is it? I think it's Isaiah. Because people say, well, what's wrong with me eating it? Nothing's going to happen. And I might get sick and blah, blah. Okay. Here we go right here. Let's see. I'll start verse 16. For by fire and by his, this is Isaiah chapter 66, verse 16. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. I'm sorry, 15, Slocky. Isaiah chapter 66, verse 15. For behold, the Lord Yahweh will come with fire and with his chariots, the chariots being the world called UFOs. Those are the chariots of the Most High God Yahweh. That Yahweh Shai will be coming back in with the other angels. Isaiah chapter 66, verse 15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. Because the chariots are going to be shooting out lasers and so forth, lighting things on fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. So the slain of Yahweh will be many, as the scripture says. Verse 17, they that say, and this is a future prophecy. This is a future prophecy. Anybody knows the Bible, they should know this is a future prophecy. Isaiah 66, verse 17. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating. Hold on a minute. Go back. Isaiah 66, verse 17. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith the Lord. So this shows that if you eat the swine or the mouse, you will be destroyed by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. It's telling you that. So, hey, what more do you need? This creature is not supposed to be eaten. And if you eat it and you continue to eat it, then your judgment will be when Yahweh Shai comes back. You'll be destroyed. So, hey, the proof is right there. That's all I have. I pray that was edifying to the flock. In closing, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rahakwadash. Double honors to apostles, elders, great millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Till next time, shalom.